Feeding thousands of students at a school district is not cheap, especially with today's prices. But an East Texas school district has found a way to cut those costs with a 5-acre garden. And as KLTV7's Jamie Boyum reports, Longview ISD is cutting back the cost even more with a new greenhouse.
Longview ISD Director of Child Nutrition Phyllis Dozier and District Gardens and Farm to Table Coordinator James Beasley take a look at seedlings planted inside the Longview ISD greenhouse.
We have in the past purchased plants and planted in the garden. This year we will start the plants, as you can see in the greenhouse, that the plants have already been started that we will use to put into the garden.
We're saving a lot of money by growing all these things ourselves. For example, a flat of vegetables, for instance, is about $6 at Lowe's or other places. A package of seed that'll grow 200 plants is about $12.
Last fall, they planted turnip seeds in the garden.
We bought $12 worth of turnip green seeds, and we produced 976 pounds of turnip greens.
They didn't have the greenhouse to start the plants last fall, but they learned with the turnip greens they
saved the district $3,500.
The greenhouse will be used to germinate plants from seed. Then the plants will be moved to the garden. The sun warms the greenhouse, but it has a system of fans to cool it down in the summer. And if that's not enough,
water will trickle down these wall panels here, and air is sucked through that and reduces the temperature in the greenhouse.
It can incubate plants year-round. And speaking of round, they
plant the seed, harvest the products, feed the kids, and we have compost accelerators for food waste that we process, bring back to the garden, fertilize the garden.
So that trashed food becomes fertilizer, which completes the LISD circle of food. Maybe that should be a song. Jamie Boyum, KLTV 7 News.
Maybe not, Jamie. Longview ISD students will take educational field trips to the garden and the greenhouse. And for the first time, they're incubating broccoli and are even trying to grow pineapple. The greenhouse cost about $57,000 and was paid for by a grant.